Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadip Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.9.32. Vidur Amatir Vidushita Devai Patadbhir Asihishnubhi Yo Narada Vachastatyam Nagrahisham Asattamaha. Yes, ladies. Matihi, intelligence. Vidushita, contaminated. Devaihi, by the demigods. Patadbihi, who will fall down. Asahishnubihi, intolerant. Yaha, I who. Narada, of the great sage Narad. Vachaha, of the instructions. Tatyam, the truth. Na, not. Agrahisham, could accept. Asattamaha, the most wretched. Since all the demigods who are situated in the higher planetary system will have to come down again, they are all envious of my being elevated to Vaikuntha Loka by devotional service. These intolerant demigods have dissipated my intelligence, and only for this reason could I not accept the genuine benediction of the instructions of sage Narada. Purport. As shown by many instances in the Vedic literature, when a person undergoes severe austerities, the demigods become very much perturbed because they are always afraid of losing their posts as the predominating deities of the heavenly planets. It is known to them that their position in the higher planetary system is impermanent, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, Kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. It is said in the Gita that after exhausting the results of their pious activities, all the demigods who are inhabitants of the higher planetary system have to come back again to this earth. It is a fact that the demigods control the different activities of the limbs of our bodies. Factually, we are not free even in moving our eyelids. Everything is controlled by them. Dhruva Maharaj's conclusion is that these demigods, being envious of his superior position in devotional service, conspired against him to pollute his intelligence. And thus, although he was the disciple of a great Vaishnava, Narad Muni, he could not accept Narada's valid instructions. Now, Dhruva Maharaj regretted very much that he had neglected these instructions. Narad had asked him, "Why should you bother about insult or adoration from your stepmother?" He, of course, said to Dhruva Maharaj that since Dhruva was only a child, what did he have to do with such insult or adoration? But Dhruva Maharaj was determined to achieve the benediction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore Narad advised him to go back home for the time being, and in mature time he could try to practice devotional service. Dhruva Maharaj regretted that he had rejected the advice of Narad Muni and was adamant in asking him for something perishable, namely revenge against his stepmother for her insult and possession of the kingdom of his father. Dhruva Maharaj regretted very much that he could not take seriously the instruction of his spiritual master, and that his consciousness was therefore contaminated. Still, the Lord is so merciful that due to Dhruva's execution of devotional service, he offered Dhruva the ultimate Vaishnava goal. Om Agana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Miditam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Pandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Pradijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lolita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Mancha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhobhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Matir Vidushita Devai Patadbir Asahishnubhi Yo Narada Vachastatyam Nagrahishan Sattamaha Asattamaha. I'm the most wretched, wretched is most wretched. My father, when he would look back on something he'd done and regret it, would say, I could kick myself. That was his expression. I could kick myself. So that's Dhruva Maharaj's mood. I could kick myself. I was so foolish. I was so stupid. I don't know what came over me. Asattama. Asat means bad, and tama means in the superlative degree, like uttama, the highest degree. So asattamaha. I'm the most stupid, the most fallen. I could kick myself. Mati vidushita. Vidushita means polluted. We find that word in Bhagavad Gita. Strishu dushtashu varshneya. Polluted. So, mati, my judgment, my intelligence was polluted. How is it possible? Devaihi. It must have been because of the demigods. They control our lives. In the Sankhya philosophy, it's explained how the sense objects and the senses and the controllers of the senses are expanded by stages from the Mahatattva, or from false ego in the three modes of material nature. And there's a relationship between them. The senses are obviously related to the sense objects. Without the sense objects, what's the use of senses? And what's the point of being a sense object if there's nothing to perceive it? So the senses are related to the sense objects, just like the eye and the sun. Without the eye, you can't see, and without the sun, you can't see. And controlling the sun is the sun god. So without the sun god, you can't see. The Surya Dev controls our vision. So in this way, there's a demigod in charge of the various sense objects and senses. And the tongue is controlled by Varunadev, if I have it right. So all the senses, down to you can't lift your eyebrow, Prabhupada says, unless the demigod permits or enables that to happen. It's a machine, yantra rudhani maya, and the machinery is under the control of demigods. We may not see that, but it's a fact. Just here in New York City, there's so many street lights, and they turn red, they turn yellow, they turn green, they turn red again, and there's a pattern. But we don't see anyone pushing a button and making it turn red, making it turn green. But we know that in the background there's an intelligent control. The street lights aren't just going on and off on their own. There's a sort of a famous story, especially among Tamal Krishna Goswami's disciples, when he was attending, because Tamal Krishna Goswami was known as a manager, and a manager who takes control. So he was attending university in Dallas, I think. And so he would drive from, I guess, the temple to the university every morning. And he noticed that it was taking him longer because one or more of the street lights were like out of phase, they were just taking too long, and it was holding up his journey. So he ordered a disciple to get in touch with the Department of Transportation or whoever it was and fix the street light timing. And they did. He knew that behind the street light there's a controller. There's some person that you can talk to who has the power to regulate the street lights. Although to the ordinary observer it just seems they go red, they go green. So with all the workings of the body, there's some demigod controlling the various parts. This demigod, that demigod. They're in charge of the machinery. And we're the riders. Just as sometimes there are these cars at, what are they called? Theme parks and so on. And you get to be the rider, but you don't really get to control the car. Maybe you get they might even give you a steering wheel which you can't do anything with, or you get some restricted control, but finally they're in charge of the car. So this body is not, we say my body, but it's not completely under my control. Sometimes control is withdrawn completely. The hand becomes palsied, it can't do anything. Although I say it's my hand and I want it to do something, it can't do it. It can't do it, just shakes. Because I'm not the final controller even of my body. In old age, that happens a lot. So many functions of the body that we're used to controlling, we can no longer control. So this is, so Dhruva Maharaj, so Prabhupada said, it's a fact that the demigods control the body. Krishna doesn't have to personally do all that, he deputes it to his agents. So, Devai Patadbi, which demigods are going to control me? The demigods who are eventually going to fall down. Kshine, that means all of them. Kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that by pious activities one may reach the heavenly planets, one may have the post of a demigod, but kshine punye, when his punya is exhausted, when his pious credit is exhausted, kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. They come back to martyaloka, this world of birth and death. The higher planets are also worlds of birth and death, but the demigods are sometimes called deathless Amar, because they live for so long. But they eventually have to die, and when they die, patadbi, they fall down to this martyaloka. So, asahishnubi, therefore they must have been intolerant because I've become more powerful than they have. Envious. This is the materialistic mentality. What do we call it? Turf protection, I think that's a common term. We defend our turf. If I have a post in some organization, a business or government, whatever it may be, I want to hold on to my post. That's the most important thing. First, because I can't do anything unless I own the post. So I don't want to lose my post. What is it? The first duty of a politician is to stay in office, right? Whatever else he does, his first priority is keep his post. So the demigods, even the demigods, muhyanti yatsuraya, bewildered by the material energy, imagine that they can go on holding on to their posts forever. Or they want to hold on as long as possible. And that means they become envious of others. Any potential competitor is a threat to my post. And so somehow we have to keep him down or get rid of him, or all sorts of things are done in politics. We have them assassinated, or we arrange to have their personal secrets broadcast in the media. One scheme or another, keep them out, keep them down. Because they're a threat to me. So even the demigods have that mentality. Indra sees some sage like Vishamitra performing severe tapasya by which he may be elevated to the heavenly planets. Now what to do? So usually he sends some apsaras, some heavenly angel from the higher planets, angelic woman, to entice the sage, and that generally works. Not always, but generally. It failed with Narayan Rishi, his incarnation of Krishna. He sent some beautiful apsaras to entice the sage. And the sage from his own body produced more such apsaras, maybe more beautiful. So the Indra's apsaras were frustrated. The Prabhupada quotes, "The sweet maker has no taste for sweetmeats." We go by the sweet store and we're like, and the sweet maker sits there all day and he couldn't care less. So the Naranarayan Rishi, he could produce millions of such beautiful apsaras from his own body. So he wasn't attracted to Indra's hit team. But generally it works. So this is the mentality. This is envy. One wants to occupy one's post indefinitely. And we find this in the heavenly planets, we find it on Earth. On Earth we find it from the presidents of countries down to the street sweepers who also want to protect their turf against competitors. So, Dhruva Maharaj thought that, why was I so bewildered? It must have been that some envious demigods were plotting against me. And because they control the whole body, intelligence is also part of the body, subtle body, mind, intelligence. So they must have taken charge of my intelligence and polluted it. Otherwise, how could I have been so stupid? Ya Narada Vacha Tatyam. I was instructed in the truth by such a great soul as Narad Muni. Ya Narada Vacha. I had the words of Narad Muni, that why should you worry about some petty insult from your stepmother? Why should it be so important? You're just a little boy anyway. Little children should not worry about such things. And it was a fact, tatyam. And from so many points of view, Narad said the same thing. Why should you be all worked up, as it were, for some small issue? But na agrahisham. I couldn't grasp it. I couldn't accept it. We get good advice. Sometimes we look back. I got good advice. If I'd only listened to that advice, I would have been fine. But I couldn't listen. In Ecclesiastes, there's a verse, woe to the kingdom whose ruler can no longer accept advice. Our progress in life, our progress in our prescribed duties, everything, so much depends on our being well advised and on being able to accept good advice. Just as bad as a king who doesn't have anyone to advise him is a king who has good advisors and won't listen. There's a verse quoted in Chanakya Shloka that what use is a mirror to a blind man? Good advice for a person who can't accept it is like a mirror for a blind man. Everything is there, but he can't accept it. Therefore, the disciple is trained to be submissive. Submissive means all right, what you say I'll accept. In the beginning, Krishna and Arjuna were arguing, but then Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. Now I surrender. That means friendly talks are over. I'm your disciple now. I'm under your charge. And finally he proves that by saying, Kodashe Vachanam Tava. Now I'll do what you say at the end. Nashtamoha Smitir Labdha. Nashtamoha, I'll do what you say because now my illusion is gone. When I'm under illusion, then I don't accept good advice. Because I'm thinking, I'm this body, this is mine, this. I'm thinking in terms of what's not true. I'm imagining what's not true to be true. And so when you tell me the truth, I can't accept it because it doesn't correspond to what I know. Now, the person who's attached to what he knows and won't listen to a higher authority is not a disciple, or not a very good disciple. To get the benefit of having a bona fide spiritual master, one has to be submissive, inquisitive, pariprashnena, but panipatena. One has to approach with submissiveness, and then one is entitled to ask questions because one will know what to do with the answers. Follow them. Vetatvam somya tatsarvam tatvatas tadanugrahat bruyu snigdhasya shishyasya gurave gurumapyuta. The Naimisharanya sages glorified Sutta Goswami. You know everything because your gurus have bestowed upon you all the favors reserved for a submissive disciple. Snigdhasya shishyasya. Snigdha means submissive. When we're willing to follow the spiritual master, when we're willing to follow the instructions of Shastras, when we're willing to follow the advice of great liberated souls, then we get the benefit. And when we're yes but, or yes, yes is the Indian form of no. Someone gives us some advice, we say yes. That means no. Polite form of no. You know? In America, we tend to be more forward about it. Yes, but. We give our arguments. But the fortunate person accepts yes. No buts. If he's corrected, he accepts. Our godbrother Shesha Prabhu attended the United States Military Academy at West Point. And he said that practically the first line you learn at West Point is, no excuse, sir. You know, soldier, da-da-da. No excuse, sir. You accept it. Not, well, but. No excuse, sir. That's discipline. No, I accept it. Even though I might have my arguments, I might have my... No excuse, sir. So, that would have been good if Dhruva Maharaj had simply accepted. Narada Muni says, this is not what you should be doing. All right, sir. I'll go back home. Of course, it was glorious that Dhruva was so determined to achieve the personality of Godhead. But now he's kicking himself because why did I want to reach the personality of Godhead? So that I could get a kingdom. A stupid, temporary kingdom. And the result of that fierce determination is that now I've had to accept a kingdom and I have to live here for so many thousands of years. Instead of going directly back to Godhead, I have to live with what I asked for or what I wanted. So Dhruva Maharaj is kicking himself that I'm so wretched that I couldn't accept the words of Narad Muni, and it must have been because these demigods, envious demigods, they must have polluted my intelligence. Dhruva Maharaj is thinking in that way. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments? Yes. Microfono, ¿dónde está?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Maharaj, you were speaking about doubts. Doubts.
Doubt.
Yeah, which Dhruva Maharaj had got. Same way, when we see in the life of a devotee who is practicing Krishna consciousness, at one stage there are some doubts.
Life of a devotee who is practicing Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, at some stage there are few doubts which are created because of lack of enthusiasm in his practice. Because of the doubts, there are many things which takes place. Because of the doubts,
yes,
he's not able to practice his spiritual life with great amount of enthusiasm.
He's not able to practice spiritual life with great enthusiasm because of doubts.
Yes.
Therefore Krishna says, aham agyanajam tamaha nashyam atmabhavasto gyanadipena bhasvata. What's the beginning of the verse? Aham tesham aham evam tesham evanukam partam aham agyanajam tamaha. For those who are constantly devoted, I destroy the agyanajam tamaha, the darkness born of ignorance. The doubts are darkness. That's also stated in Bhagavad Gita, although the verse is not coming to my brain at the moment. The demigods must be giving me a hard time. I'm not competition, so I don't know why. But anyway, the doubts are due to ignorance. I ask which way I'm supposed to go to reach the subway. They say, you turn right and you go for through 3 blocks. But I don't know. Maybe you don't know what you're talking about, and maybe it's the wrong subway. Maybe it's supposed to be, the one around the corner. I'm not sure. I doubt. Because I don't know. The person who knows exactly where to catch the A train doesn't doubt at all. He doesn't even have to ask, what to speak of questioning the advice given. He knows. So the doubt is due to ignorance. A person who knows doesn't doubt. So therefore the doubts that have arisen from ignorance are to be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. And therefore we shouldn't doubt the spiritual master, at least. That won't help us. We shouldn't doubt the Shastra Vidhi, the Acharyas. Yes, what they say is right. No, still we may have doubts, but those doubts also are to be attacked first then. One has to learn what is Guru Tattva, what is Shastra. And by that knowledge, then that's related. When there are three levels of adhikar, they're related to faith. Third class devotee doesn't have much knowledge and has komala shraddha, weak faith. They're related. Why is his faith weak? Because he doesn't know very much. Now I take up devotional service, I join the association of devotees because the food is good, because the people are nice, because there's a girl there that I like and she always smiles to me and she's so nice to me, because the people are friendly. But then if something comes up, I meet someone on the street, says, "What are you doing hanging out with these foolish people?" Or some friend says, "Why are you wasting your life?" And then I think, yeah. Because my faith is weak, because my knowledge is weak. I've come more or less on sentiment, and Prabhupada says, if today you come on sentiment, tomorrow you'll leave on sentiment. Because that's the nature of sentiment, it changes. Then the second class devotee, he's well conversant with Shastra and therefore his faith is strong. And the first class devotee, he knows everything and his faith is unshakable. So we have to increase our knowledge, not just by study, but sevaya. It doesn't just come by reading a lot of books, but tejam satata yuktanam, for those who are always engaged in devotional service. Dadami buddhi yogam tam, I give spiritual intelligence. Yena mam upayanti te. Is that okay? Then we become more enthusiastic, more everything. So it's a process. Is that all right? Yes. Okay. Something else? Archita Prabhu. Microphone, yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the classic Srimad Bhagavatam presentation, word by word, and dealing with all the points in today's verse. But going back to the question that was just asked, Prabhupada actually, and the spiritual master should encourage relevant questions, understanding that this disciple is coming out of the darkness of ignorance. The spiritual master should, and actually Prabhupada demonstrated by encouraging relevant questions. You yourself,
encouraging
relevant questions to clear up doubt.
I'm just having real trouble with the acoustics. Are you hearing?
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada encouraged relevant questions.
Yeah, relevant questions.
Yes, you yourself, I mean, there's many recorded conversations between yourself and Srila Prabhupada. The famous one about what does it mean to say that the spiritual master knows everything? Because somebody may doubt. You know, if the spiritual master knows everything, then why didn't he prevent such and such and such from happening? So you asked that question of Prabhupada, and Prabhupada gave him, obviously, a very cogent answer. So one should not be afraid to ask questions. If doubts are there, one needs to clear up those doubts.
Yeah. Tadvidhi pranipatena and pariprashnena. Pariprashna means questions. It's not blind following. Arjuna is asking questions. That's also there in the Bhagavad Gita. Tvaranyad samshayasyasya is the 6th chapter and Tvaranyad samshayasyasya chaitana hyupapajyate. Someone's practicing yoga, he gives up material life and takes up yoga practice, and then he falls down. Vimudha pramanapati. He gets deviated from the path. So, kachinno bhaya vibrashtas chinna brahm ivanashyati apratishta mahabhaha. It looks like he's nowhere. He's like a cloud that gets beat up by the wind and it just, part breaks off here, part breaks, pretty soon there's no cloud. So is that his position? Apratishta. Pratishta means nowhere. It looks like he's nowhere. He's given up material life and he's failed at spiritual life. So apratishta, he's nowhere. Etan me samshayam Krishna. Etan me samshayam Krishna. Chetum arhasya sheshata. Arhasi means you deserve. It's what's the word? Polite and formal way of saying, please could you do this? Arhasi, you deserve to do this. You're qualified to do this. You deserve to answer my doubt. You're qualified. You're fit to answer my doubt. It's a polite request. Asheshata. Sheshata means top to bottom, fully. This is my doubt. Could you please clear it up? Tvaranya samshayasyasya chetum na hyupapajyate. There's no one else but you that could clear this up. Could you please explain this to me? Then yes. Then Krishna explains it. And then at the end, nasta moha. I have no more illusion. I have no more doubt. So, as you said, it's not that questions are forbidden, just when the Rasananda was telling me, actually it wasn't him, he was quoting another of our scientists, our physicist devotee, Dharmavir, has a PhD in physics. And he was saying, that in the universities, it's not that they're really encouraging deep thought about things. He said the theme is, when you're working on your doctorate, shut up and compute. Is that right? We've got work to do here, and we've got papers to publish, and you're here to get your doctorate, I'm here to get you through the course and graduated, so shut up and compute. And that was the answer that he got when he asked, sort of like really wanted to get into the deeper implications of what they were studying. Shut up and compute. Not in so many words, but basically that's it. So Krishna consciousness is not shut up and compute. One is entitled to interrogate in a gentle way, to learn the truth by inquiry, pariprashna. But the inquiry will be fruitful when one is submissive. So therefore, pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. When one is submissive, one has a service mood, then one's questions will be answered. Yes. Thank you. Anything else? No, we're at 9 o'clock. We're entitled to arhasi. You deserve to stop. Yeah, okay, one more.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, you were speaking about Komal Shraddha. And,
Komal Shraddha, yes.
And you said the difference between another definition, Shastriya Shraddha and Lokika Shraddha. The only difference is that one knows Shastra, but we are meditating upon this pastime of Roma Harshana Sutta, that he may have known so much Shastra, but his behavior was deficient. So can we say that sometimes that knowing Shastra doesn't necessarily mean that one has Vigyan or practice?
Yeah, knowing Shastra, having Shastric Gyan, doesn't necessarily mean we have realization. It doesn't mean we really know. I may be able to quote all over the place, but I can't follow. Or I know so many things, but I haven't learned the first thing. What is that? Follow your spiritual master. The people who, we see that Prabhupada complained about members of the Sanskrit department at the BBT, not Pradumna Prabhu, but others. He said, as soon as they know a little Sanskrit, they think that they know more than Guru Maharaj. And so you get people who, they know Sanskrit, they've read this book, they've read that book, and now they're hotshots. They're ready for Radha Kund, they're ready for becoming intimate servants of Radha and Krishna. They're ready for all the real stuff, but they've never learned how to become surrendered servants of their spiritual master. So what is the use of knowing so many things? That was my complaint, one complaint in the Kirtan Standards book, that you get people who know, incredible. They know so many beats on the mridanga, they know so many ornaments and so many things, and they're just wow, just terrific. Only they'd never learned the first thing, that your business is to follow the Kirtan leader. That your business is to support the chanting of the holy name. So they think, so all of their ornaments and their expertise in so many complex beats are all useless, because it just becomes a mridanga show, drowning out the holy name instead of supporting the holy name. So it's just an example that we know so many things, but we never learned the first thing. Tad vidhi pranipatin. So in spiritual advancement, the first thing is ado guru padashraya, to take shelter of the feet of the spirit. Of the feet means humble. Taking shelter of the feet of a bona fide spiritual master. That means pranipat, humble, surrender. What is that? Amanitya adambitva, on the list of methods in the process of knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita. Number 1, amanitya, to be humble. That means, what do I know? If I know, I don't need to ask you. Then Prabhupada, when people would challenge him, Swamiji, and Prabhupada would sometimes, have you seen God, or something like that? If I tell you, will you believe me? What's the point of asking the question if you're not going to accept the answer? just to challenge. The challenging questions won't be fruitful. If you don't think I know, don't ask me. And if you think I know, then accept the answer. Then there'll be benefit. Okay, let's stop here. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Archita Prabhu ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.